Fair to say you have a signature celebration now?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's known by now. Victor Oladipo went from lottery pick to being labeled a bust to dominant scorer. He's been on 3 teams in 5 years, different coaching staffs, different teammates, different cities. No bigs for Victor. His parents migrated from Nigeria to the US in '85. His mother, Joan, ran track and played something called netball.
Netball is played on a rectangular court measuring approximately 30 meters by 15 meters. The court is divided into thirds. The middle third is known as the center third, and the 2 areas at either end are called the goal thirds.
She'd say, "It was a little rough when we first came to this country. My husband worked all kinds of jobs to make ends meet." His father, Chris, born in Sierra Leone, valued education over sports, a driving divide between father and son. "I never really saw my dad because he was always working. We didn't have a great relationship." Victor came from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, the same county as Kevin Durant, Ty Lawson, and Jeff Green. Our father was probably too overprotective. He always warned us not to have too many friends, not to get too close to people, Victor's sister, Christine, stated. So what did Victor do with this type of father? Snuck in basketball when he could, dribbling the ball in the basement so he wouldn't get scolded, sneaking out of the house to play, then racing in through the back door before his father got home. As Victor grew up, he recalled an absent father at games. Other kids' dads were front row. Some of their dads were the coaches. At that point, you're just a kid and you're so selfish, you just want him to be there. He couldn't be there for me. One of his friend's dads took him to a game at DeMatha Catholic, a school over an hour away from his home. I kind of fell in love with them, DeMatha, there. He tried out along with future NBA players Quinn Cook, Jerry Green, and Josh Selby. Going into his sophomore year, bam, broke his foot. Coaches told him no pressure coming to 5 a.m. workouts. He came anyway. Every morning. That's the kind of dedication he has. Enter Kingston Price, Victor's coach and later on his godfather. Price asked Victor if he'll play varsity next season. His first response was, "Huh?" I said, "What do you mean, huh?" And I could still remember his quote to this day, "Varsity, they're good." Price's retort, "So what are you?" Victor's father had other plans. Send Vic to China for a full summer to study martial arts and improve his self-discipline. He needed to concentrate on basketball alone. Basketball is okay to the extent that you have a balanced life with education and games. To which Victor went on the record stating, "I would love for him to want to see me play. I want to show him how good I've become. Sometimes I sit down and wonder why he doesn't come, but I guess it's hard to explain." With state titles in the bag and a father who disapproves of his choices, Victor was just a 3-star recruit. He even attended 3 camps in Virginia. No offer was given. He committed to IU 4 days after his visit. "The campus is like a basketball atmosphere everywhere you go," he said. And students knew him everywhere he went, especially after this. Freshman year, he started just 5 games, and the program kind of in a state of depression, going 12-20. Sophomore year, the shot happened. IU beat #1 Kentucky. The program is back. Oladipo upped his average to 11 points per. Junior year, the biggest jump of all. Wild crowds with flashy dunks greatly improved his shooting. He was a Wooden Award finalist, all thanks to his mentor. It was Coach Crean who gave me my opportunity. He gave me the chance to get better. In the Sweet 16, Syracuse's 2-3 zone knocked the Hoosiers out. And quote, "At that point, I just cried my eyes out. I cried so much. There's a point where you want to keep crying, but there's no more tears. My chest was hurting. My lungs were hurting. I was crying so hard and for so long, it was crazy." Victor took 19 credit hours to graduate on time. He could not have been more elated to be handed his diploma. "My whole family is coming down for graduation," he said. "My cousins, uncles, my dad might even come. Who knows? We'll see, but there's no guarantee." Chris did not attend one of Victor's college games. Still, Oladipo pushed through. Scouts loved him. Here's a guy who was just barely on the NBA's radar at the start of the year, probably not even in the top 100. Now he's probably going to go in the lottery. It's very unusual to make a climb like that in 1 year. On that fateful night, his name was called.
With the second pick, the Orlando Magic select Victor Oladipo.
Victor has described his NBA career as a roller coaster. 5 different head coaches, 3 different cities. He was in the Paul George trade to OKC from Indy. He has competed in dunk contests, and he is a star in the league. Last All-Star break, he had the most joyous moment of all. It had been a long time since we, him and his father, had a real conversation, but you've got to work at it. Because he's your dad, so his opinion means more than anybody's. He told me he believes in me, and that gave me a huge boost. Their relationship is still a work in progress, but encouraging nonetheless. Victor is a family man with 3 sisters, one of whom is deaf, Kendra. So what did he do? Learn sign language. His life is a musical, says assistant Dan Burke. Victor has released an R&B album, started his own YouTube channel, Feathery Music, which he owns the trademark, and, quote, just wants to be the best. From a rough upbringing in Upper Marlboro to a one-half parental support system, to not knowing his own abilities in high school, lottery pick, all-star. At this point, who can doubt that Victor Oladipo has arrived?